Hey guys, this is Rob Mosley of RobMosley.com, the Tall Man's Lifestyle Guide, and you're joining me today for A Moment with Mosley featuring Donovan West. Hey guys, so today we're going to be discussing career changes and you know, you get to that point where you just don't love your job no more and you want to change and you want to step out and maybe do something that's your passion. So we have Donovan with us again, and we're going to be discussing that. So Donovan, what are some tips that you would give someone who's considering a career change?
Well, the first thing I would say is that, this is a tough situation, right? You've been doing what you've been doing for whatever period of time. You're really considering a switch. And depending on where you are in your life, it has some, ramifications, right? I'm not sure if you got a mortgage yet, if you have children, blah, blah, blah. Or if you're someone that, you're a young professional and, you just don't like where you're at and you've been there for a couple years or whatever. Mm-hmm. In either event, you're talking about, a major adjustment to, maybe your brand, maybe work as you know it, the type of work that you do. And so the first thing I would say that you do is take some inventory, right? Take some inventory. That's the first thing. Get a sense of, where you are in the whole process. So for instance, I always talk about the 3 Ps. The first P is your profession, right? It's what you've done before, the schools you went to and things of that nature. And the reason why this professional section is so important because usually you're the example or the outcome of these external pressures, right? Mm-hmm. Mom wanted you to be something. Dad wanted you to be something. Your friends, society, by the way, you're 6'10", I'm 6'6", so you already know what we were expected to do, right?
Right.
So you tend to fall into a profession that is based off of society's pressure. So it's important to take inventory of how much of that is really you versus society, right? So I'm in this job, and I have this job because it's a safe job, right? And I always wanted to have security. As I grew up in a certain household, I always desired that. So that's the reason why I'm working this particular job. So take inventory, be critical of why you're in the profession you're in. And then the next is your personal, right? So you have profession and then you have personal. As a person, you're thinking about, well, what are the things that are really interesting to me? What are my passions, as you just now mentioned? And that's very interesting because, your passion is not necessarily something that you always want to turn into, your career.
Right.
Some passions, can lead to a career. Some others really don't. They should probably stay some kind of hobby of sorts, right? Or maybe it's in some way, shape, or form. Perhaps they are some kind of income patching instrument, mm-hmm. right? Something that can bring in some money, but real talk, is it bringing in all the money, right? So you got to have that kind of dialogue with yourself and really get a sense of, does your passion really lead to a career sustaining job opportunity or entrepreneurial opportunity, right? So that's the other P in terms of, the personal side that really leads to your passion. And then here's the other part that's very, very tough. This is the third P, and that is your purpose. Like, what's really your purpose, right? And many of us, we align purpose, our purpose with something spiritual. And I think you're right to, if you're barking up that tree, but you're really talking about having some power of discernment, right? Discerning between what is your will, what is your interest, what is your passion, and then really what's your purpose. This is something that you really were called to do. It may be a mix of course, your gifts and talents and interests, but, really at the end of the day, what's your purpose overall in terms of how you should function in this world, right? It may lead to employment. It also may lead to some kind of entrepreneurial effort on your part. But really to pray on that, to think about that in real creative yet, I would say critical ways. So it may be a situation where something that is your purpose doesn't necessarily lead you to the lifestyle you thought you were supposed to live or lead. And so when we talk about moving to the next career, you really have to think about all these things. They all play a key role in terms of what your next step should be, because at the end of the day, should you make that jump and it be a mix of your passion and purpose, it doesn't mean that it's wrong. That's great. But remember that we're talking about some level of commitment, because at that point, then you can be your best self when you're pursuing it.
Right. Okay. So I guess what finding one's purpose. I know like there's people I've read articles where some people don't find their purpose until they're well into their 40s, and that's when they really hit their breakthrough and become millionaires. Do you think that like there's a specific route people should go, or like how does one like find that purpose? Like, because there's a lot of people that are just truly confused about.
Right. There are a lot of people, and I've been confused. I'm pretty sure you have. Others out there watching have been confused. There are thousands of books, right? A lot of clips on YouTube and everywhere else on finding your purpose. Well, the first thing I would say is really attack this whole definition of what success is, right? You know, success a lot of times for some people may mean something monetary. It could be really a quality of life. It could be what's really out there that makes you happy. And when you really have that kind of conversation with yourself and get tuned in and perhaps couple that with the bravery or the courage to actually pursue it after that, right? Because a lot of times our image of success really is through the eyes of others. So I tell a lot of people, stop wearing their lenses. Stop wearing their glasses, right? Look through your own eyes. If everyone that respects you is only respecting you because of how much money you make, and the reality is what you really love to do, what your real purpose in this world has nothing to do with money, right? Then perhaps there's a tougher conversation, and even more importantly, the moves you have to make following that are something that you really have to have the courage to actually pursue. So this whole topic around changing careers, maybe it's on that level of just, from a profession to another profession. But as you start talking about a real commitment to really start to make some inroads to what your purpose is, and can you have that in alignment with, your talents, and then, your pursuit of employment or entrepreneurial effort to really just be the core foundation of how you're living your life, that might involve a little bit more digging, and also more importantly, that commitment piece that I brought up before, being committed to say, you know what, once I have found out what my purpose is, am I now going to demonstrate by way of courage some level of pursuit?
Okay. And so there you have it. You have, first, you got to define your profession. Then you got to go into your passion. What do you love? And your purpose.
That's it.
Purpose. So if you're thinking of changing careers, you have to really take time to think about really what you want to do and where you want to move into, and is that going to be beneficial for you? And if you have a family, you have to really think about all those things too. So before you go jumping into a new career, make sure you take time to realize if it's something that's going to put you in a better place and move you forward in your career. I appreciate you guys watching. Again, this has been A Moment with Mosley featuring Donovan West. Thank you for watching, and if you like what you saw, please make sure you like, share, and subscribe.